Welcome back, guys. Today we are going to talk about what could potentially happen on the next ban list. It is the 18th of March, which means at any point the new ban list announcement could come now. It's usually around the 20th, can be later sometimes, but I think since the last one was not that big, we will see something big right now at this ban list. Decade also said in his new leaks, if you have not seen the new leaks, check that out on the channel. It is in the top right corner that the April pack will be very meta relevant, so we will see what this means. So the first thing we are going to take a look at is Untapped GG. If you're not aware, this is a website, I'm not affiliated, that shows you basically the win rate. You can download basically a companion here, and then the companion basically tracks your win rate in a game, which is where we have this data points from. Obviously we could also take a look at Master Duel Meta, but Master Duel Meta takes the data points from tournaments, which in tournaments we are also playing best of 3. The conditions are just a bit different than from the ladder, and these are the ladder data points. This is games from the ladder, from, as you can see right here, every rank, basically also indicating at which rank which deck is most represented. And you can see right here the Tenpai Dragons is at the moment the deck with the highest win rate. Then again, Snake Eyes being only 1 decimal point behind it, and having twice the representation basically means that if we would double the representation of Tenpai Dragons, more games that is, we would probably receive like a percentage point that is under Snake Eyes. So in the end, Snake Eyes just might be the deck with the best win rate. Exodia once again having a great win rate here. It's just a bit crazy. We have White Forest here with Blue Eyes with not a bad win rate at all. Even we don't have the private engine now. And we have Kashtira here. I talked about this in my video with the top decks, the top 5 decks to reach Master 1 with this month. You can also check that out if you want to. Branded Despair here, that makes sense because, you need to have a good pilot. Tielemans definitely back, and then you can see something like a Sky Striker right here. So what does this mean for the ban list? And I think one very obvious candidate to be hit here is the entire Snake Eyes deck. So Snake Eyes, that means we can quickly take a look at this by clicking on the view 2000 decks part. You can see right here Snake Eyes means we have the Snake Eyes package, we have this Fiendsmith package normally, and then there normally is a third package. In this in this iteration we have the Sinful Spoils, Deception of Sinful Spoils Azamina package here with the Azamina Omni Negate Boss Monster. There's also the other very famous package with the Millennium stuff, where you then don't play the Azamina stuff. So you have 2 of these most famous packages, and one of them is in the deck usually. So what could happen here? Obviously we will not see something happening to the Fiendsmith stuff and the Azamina stuff. This is super new, this is still in the shop. There's definitely not happen anything here. Also Millennium, nothing happening here. Also because Millennium is like an only deck, the Exodia deck, and they won't start hitting like the Sengagen or something. Definitely not. So what we could see here and what would make total sense are obviously hits to the Snake Eyes engine. The Snake Eyes engine has been around for over a year now. Remember, we got this last year for the anniversary in February. There we got all the Snake Eyes stuff, and it is still here, it is still playable, and this is the next big thing to be killed, obviously. And you can see right here that we already have the Ash at 1, we have Poplar at 1, we have Bonfire at 2, we have the Wanted at 1. So there is obviously not a lot that we can do right here, because we have already hit a lot of stuff down in consistency. There are only a few pieces left that we could interact with here, and we will talk about them now. So the first thing that would be an obvious candidate for a hit might be Original Sinful Spoiled Snake Eyes. This is where TCG basically, or how TCG did it, they forbid the Original Sinful Spoils Snake Eyes, obviously making the deck worse. Also basically forbidding the strategy, the mechanic to basically go into other engines. So for example, you could use the Original Sinful Spoils to go into the Rescue Ace engine if you wanted to, but this also just makes the deck way weaker. You also don't have this recycling stuff, because once the Original Sinful Spoils is in the graveyard, you can recycle it to get access to another Snake Eyes base monster. So we have seen this hit in the TCG, and this definitely killed the deck, so that now it is no longer represented We will have to see how this would end up in Master Duel, since with the hit on the Sinful Spoils Snake Eye, we have received in the TCG, that is Rising and Malice, which were super strong decks, but obviously we also have good decks in the current meta which could replace Snake Eyes. So I think this is an obvious candidate. Master Duel somehow does not really like to forbid something. As you can see right here, they have limited everything. But I think we will have to forbid something in order to really kill this deck, in order to end the Snake Eyes era. And I think ending the Snake Eyes era is something that could either happen right now, this month, or maybe then next month. But I don't think that it will take any longer, since you can still play these new cards, the Azamina engine and the Fiendsmith stuff. This will still be relevant even without Snake Eyes. You can play Azamina and White Forest and will continue to do so. You will continue to play Fiendsmith in every deck basically. So we don't need the Snake Eyes stuff in order to make these newer cards viable, so we can let Snake Eyes go. This is one potential route here. Another one would be Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon. You can see there's nothing happening to this card in the OCG or TCG, but you could definitely forbid this, and then obviously this is super impactful, since this cuts the follow-up of the deck. This cuts the I produce little bodies to link with aspect of the deck. And then also cards like the Snake Eye Ash couldn't go into very strong plays. I mean, Snake Eye Ash into Snake Eye Oak just basically replaces the bodies here. And if you can't go into a Flamberge Dragon, then what are you even doing? So I think the most obvious candidates to really kill, in quotation marks, kill the deck would be either the original Sinful Spoils or the Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon. Both would achieve this end goal, in my opinion. So we will have to see what happens here. Another one that could happen, since they really seem to like, by the way, alternative artwork, very cool, since they really seem to like hitting consistency stuff, is going after the Diabellstar. I think this is not that likely, because Diabellstar you also see in the White Forest deck at 3. It's kind of part of the Diabellstar lore. Sometimes it's played at 1, as we can see right here, but normally at 3. And I don't really think that they want to hit this deck, because it is quite new. It will receive support in the future. So I'm not really seeing something happening to Diabellstar, but I'm really assuming that we will see hits on these here. I think they wanted to keep the Snake Eye stuff alive for the Duelist Cup, and then afterwards, yeah, they will basically kill it, which the ban list will be in place come the next selection pack, which should be around the 10th of April or something like this. So the Duelist Cup is way over then, so that would work. So Diabellstar the Black Witch, another option here, which I don't really think will happen. And I think these are the most obvious candidates, and then there are some other things. As we can see right here, Tenpai Dragon is still very strong, so we could see another hit to Sangen Kaimen. This is the last piece of the Tenpai deck that you could actually hit. We can quickly take a look at this, and we will see that most of the engine pieces already have been hit. We have the Chandra at 1, which is very impactful. We have Field Spell at 1. Where is it? Are we not playing it? Here it is. We have Kaimen at 2, and obviously I guess Pydra could also be something that could be hit, but I think they already started with this Kaimen hit, and the Kaimen hit is also something we have seen in the TCG. So yeah, this might happen in order to make a Tenpai even weaker. I think that Tenpai at some point will receive another hit. We will see something. It could also be a Pydra going to 2. I don't really think so, since they already started doing it like this. But I could definitely see Sangen Kaimen going to 1. And I don't think the Tenpai is a big problem right now, but they definitely want to tune it down a bit more. We could also see, again, Roku to 1, does it really matter? I guess it doesn't really matter, honestly. Makes it a bit worse, but I'm definitely seeing at some point, maybe not on this list, the Sangen Kaimen going to 1, honestly. By the way, guys, let me know in the comments what you think of my suggestions here. What do you think is happening or will happen? I'm very interested. Also, if you like my videos, please consider subscribing, hitting a thumbs up, and the notification bell. This would help me out a lot. And then I think there's another really obvious candidate that could be hit or will be hit at some point, maybe now, maybe later. It is in this popular extra deck list that you can see right here, and it is Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal. It's forbidden in the TCG, forbidden in OCG, just because of what we are seeing right now with the Fiendsmith stuff. You can make her, and then you can dump any card to the graveyard, and then you can do it once again on the opponent's turn. In the TCG, there were pretty nasty things that went on with the Beatrice. I don't see this in Master Duel right now, but still, this is just super strong, giving you basically access to every other engine. So you can start with your Fiendsmith stuff and then just send anything else to the graveyard. You can see this in Tenpai Dragon, where you could also do this with the Beatrice, sending, for example, your Chandra or your Pydra to the graveyard and then reviving it with the Promethean Princess. It's just super versatile. It's too strong, and we obviously will not hit the Fiendsmith engine because it's super new. At some point we could definitely see the Engraver going to 1, but not now. We don't even have the full Fiendsmith stuff at this point. But I think Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal being forbidden, is something we will see very soon, I would assume, on this list, but at the latest point on the last list, I would assume. So the last card I want to talk about is a Maxx C. We have the Maxx C here. So what is happening to Maxx C? Very interested in seeing whether the Master Duel or the OCG side will hit this first, going down to 1. I really think that at some point we will have this gone in both formats. I think this will be forbidden at some point in every format. This will definitely not happen on this list. I don't really see Maxx C going to forbidden on this list, on this next forbidden limited list. I don't really think that is possible. But maybe if we are lucky, this might go to 1. I'm hoping, because I don't really think this is a great card. I think this is a stupid card. I'm super happy that we have this at 2 already and seeing it less and less. Hopefully this goes down to 1 and then sometimes down to 0. Obviously also getting crafting points back. But yeah, I think these are the most obvious candidates to be hit on the next ban list here. With Beatrice being, in my opinion, the most likely one to be hit. I'm not quite sure how they want to operate with the Snake Eye stuff, how long they want to keep this around, but I don't think this will be around for a long time from this point on forward. And I don't think we need the release of Ryziel or Malice in order to kill the Snake Eye stuff. As you can see right here, we have a lot of different decks that can overtake the position of Snake Eyes. I guess something like White Forest might then be the best deck. Probably maybe Jubel, maybe Temper Dragons, depending on the hits that it will see. But maybe also Primite Blue Eyes when we get the Primite stuff. So interesting times to play, definitely. Hopefully we can soon leave this overpowered Snake Eyes, Fiendsmith, Azamina format. This is just, I think this deck is at the strongest point in any format. So this is the strongest version that we have seen compared to the TCG and OCG that this ever was in, because we have the Azamina stuff together with the Fiendsmith stuff together with the Snake Eye stuff. This wasn't really the case in this PowerPoint, especially with the Doom Dragon and stuff like this in the TCG or OCG. So the game is definitely power crept at a very strong point at the moment. And this is the cool thing. If we kill this deck, then the other decks that are a bit weaker, like the Blue Eyes, like maybe the Exodia and White Forest, can definitely climb to the top here and be better decks. So I think we have a very interesting meta in front of us. But also at the moment, the meta is not that bad. Not a lot of people are playing Snake Eyes. Not a lot. At least we can see Blue Eyes being played as much as Snake Eyes, basically a bit more. But yeah, these are my predictions for the ban list. You can let me know in the comments what you are thinking, what you are hoping for. Thanks for being here, and obviously we will see each other in the next one.